Hi everyone and welcome to episode 110 of the Talk is Cheap show. We've got another great show lined up for you today. But before we get started, let me start by introducing a man who, after 109 times, I still struggle to find the right words to accurately describe this man and give him the credit he deserves. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, please give a big digital round of applause for my good friend, my co-host, show analyst, resident expert, former professional footballer, now social media influencer and icon, animal lover, all-round decent guy, Mr. Curtis Shaw from Curtis Shaw TV in the house. What are you saying, bro?
I see what you did there, you know. No, big up, bro. Happy to be here. At least we're here after a win as well. Good vibes.
Yeah, man.
You know?
Yeah, it's all good in the house, man.
Yeah,
what have you been up to, bro?
Same old, man. Content, usual business, man. Back in the gym and
busy,
just all of that.
Yeah, man. Couple of news and notes to go through before we get into our main item. First one off the bat, very quickly, AFCON. We both watched the whole tournament. I know previously you'd predicted that Senegal would win. They did win. Just very quickly, your thoughts on the winners and the match and, you know, overall what your thoughts are on AFCON.
I thought it was a good tournament. I think it does get disrespected a little bit. We know there are certain things you get in that tournament. You know, the guys writing numbers on the back of the shirt, refs ending it after 85 minutes. But a lot of talented players.
It was, man.
I was personally glad that Senegal won it.
Yeah.
I felt it would mean so much to them. They've never won the tournament before. Mane obviously missed the penalty and then scored the winning penalty, you know. And you saw the scenes in Dakar afterwards as well. Millions of people in the streets. So, yeah, I thought that was great. And, it wasn't the best of finals, but dramatic ending.
I think Egypt tend to play that type of very sort of pragmatic, for want of a better word, game, where they just basically defend and rely on
Salah
hoofing the ball up to Salah and hoping that they'll get a goal through that. But I think the best team in the tournament won, which is good. And like you said, man, those heartfelt scenes in Dakar and Senegal really did resonate. So. And listen, man, I'm a big fan of the tournament. Yeah,
definitely.
And long may it continue. Right, secondly then, a story that's doing the rounds. It's been pretty much in the news every day since it broke. It's a story that's got everyone talking, from fans in the street, football commentators, pundits, even politicians. Everyone seems to have had its say. I'm talking about that video, the Kurt Zouma Catgate. I must admit, when I saw the video, man, when it came up on my phone and I watched it, it was a hard watch. And I have to say, man, I was quite disgusted by what I saw. And it's interesting because my girlfriend has a cat. And I have to say, I wouldn't class myself as an animal lover, but I've kind of got quite attached to the cat over a period of time. And when I saw that, I was pretty disgusted. But yeah, I'm going to ask you, bro, what was your thoughts very quickly? Can't really say too much.
I think like everyone, nobody can look at that video and see anything positive. It's foolish behaviour. I know he's been punished. He's been fined a couple of weeks' wages. I think they took the cats off him. You know, you just... Listen, I don't think you should blame all footballers and group them all together. A lot of footballers that do a lot of great things, but it just seems at the moment, every time you see things, it's like, what's wrong with some of these guys, man? More money than sense. So
I've got to ask you, what did you think of West Ham's decision to play him? Was that right for you or wrong?
Listen, I think most of us would agree you'd have expected him to have been taken out the firing line. Gold and Sullivan are very harsh, ruthless businessmen, and along with Moyes, I think they've kind of put football ahead of it, because it's interesting they played him and then like they're going to punish him afterwards, which doesn't really make sense. So, but nothing really surprises me with
I think they must have thought
nowadays.
That without Zouma, they haven't got a cat in else chance of. Well, you won't go there. But
yeah,
anyway.
we won't go there. But
no, I mean, listen, I don't want to joke about this stuff. It was. I thought it was the wrong decision to play him. I'm hearing that he might miss a few games now. Even politicians are getting involved. So this might not be the end of it, man. I mean, the cats have been taken off him. I think they're going to inspect the cats to see if there's been any abuse that they can determine. And that will see whether he'll get the cats back or not. But yeah, man, it was a hard watch. I just got to ask you, because it kind of moved on a little bit, the debate, innit? Following that interview with Kurt Zouma's teammate, Mikel Antonio, and he did raise a point that it was quite thought-provoking, because it kind of got me thinking when he said, because initially, when I saw the incident, I, like a lot of people, was angered straight, and I was like, nah, they've got to do something, you know what I mean? If West Ham even tear up his contract, then he would have deserved it and all that.
Yeah.
But when Mikel Antonio raised that point yesterday, or a couple of days ago, when he was talking about, you know, people are talking about he should lose his livelihood. Is it any worse than racism? People who have been convicted of racism in the past have served 8 games, and welcome back into the game. We've seen other incidents. There's the Marcos Alonso incident. I won't go into it, but a lot of people know what I'm talking about. The Suarez stuff. So I'm not comparing racism with assaulting and, you know, mistreating a cat. However, in terms of the punishments given, there is a comparison to be made. So I must admit, when Mikel Antonio threw that out there, it did have me reappraising my earlier thoughts on how they should deal with Zuma. What about you? How did you feel about it?
Listen, it's difficult to compare 2 wrong incidents. That's the first thing. And we completely condone what Zuma did.
Don't condone what he did.
Oh, we don't condone what he did. Sorry, yeah, there we go.
You don't want to get us cancelled.
Yeah, I don't want to get us cancelled. But listen, I don't like to say that somebody should lose their livelihood. I think rehabilitation is an important thing in society in general. Like you said, the Alonso incident, which we won't go into detail, but was a shocking incident. Yeah. Luis Suarez, I mean, he bit Ivanovic, you know, racial incidents before. And a few games out, a little fine, and they've come back. So, as I always say to you, you know, I don't like double standards. If you're going to do that all the way across the board, that kind of punishment. So for me, I think I don't think Zuma will be sacked. I think West Ham will keep him, because football is a ruthless business, and they just paid nearly £30 million for him. So, but listen, he's going to have to serve whatever punishment is thrown at him.
Yeah. Yeah, man, like we said, this story's going to run for a little bit longer, I believe, and we'll just have to wait and see what happens. But it's just a bad look all the way around.
Yeah, it is.
Hey. Okay, then, so getting back to matters on the football pitch. So then, after 2.5 weeks out, Arsenal returned to long-awaited action, taking on Wolves in the Premier League away from home. To set the scene, it's an absolute must-win game if we're going to keep up any hopes of playing Champions League football next season, or certainly European football. Away to Wolves. Now, coming into the game, Wolves were in 8th place. They played 21 games, won 10, drawn 4, lost 7. In 2022, they'd played 5, won 4, drawn none. They'd lost a game, but it was in the FA Cup to Norwich.
Yeah.
But, you know, in terms of the Premier League, their form was on a bit of an upward trajectory after a fairly underwhelming start, it has to be said. So much so that their manager, Bruno Lage, had actually won Manager of the Month for January. So they were, you know, a decent team, resolute defending, not ideally prolific up front, but, you know, going to be a difficult game. Whereas Arsenal were coming into this game off the back of a disappointing 0-0 draw, it has to be said, against Burnley. No wins in 2022, only 1 goal scored, a disappointing transfer window. So a win was badly needed. So that was the backdrop to the game. In terms of the game itself, I'll try and keep this brief because we've got other things we want to talk about. 1-0 win, a goal by Gabriel after 25 minutes. Would you say it was against a run of play or in keeping with the play?
Yeah, I think it was fairly balanced at that time when we got the goal.
I think the main talking point of the game was the bizarre sending off of Martinelli on 69 minutes. Just talking about that briefly, 2 yellow cards in the space of about 20 seconds.
Yeah.
Bizarre. I've never seen anything. In all the years I've been watching football, I've never seen somebody get sent off in basically what was like one incident. One passage of play. Thanks. Have you ever seen anything like that?
No, never seen it, ever.
What was your thoughts on that, bro?
Listen, I think there is a balance to the argument. If you look at it from strictly the rules, it can probably be given as a red card because both incidents isolated could be deemed yellow cards. However, for me, a referee's job really is to try and finish a game with 22 players on the pitch. You know, there's certain referees that seem to want to be in the headlines, and I don't like that. To me, if he gives Martinelli a yellow card for both of them incidents, I don't think any Wolves player is complaining and saying, oh, that should be a red card. There's no malice in either incident. all right, he's broke up a counter-attack, which you see that all the time in games. For me, and I know I'm an Arsenal fan, people will say you're being biased, but I genuinely think that common sense should have prevailed and that should have been a yellow card. But the refereeing standard in the Premier League is abysmal. It really is, richest league in the world, but some of the worst refs, in my opinion.
I mean, it's funny because most people I've spoken to, Arsenal fans and non-Arsenal fans, do agree that both offences were probably worthy of a yellow card if you look at them in an isolated context. But in an overall context, I think the yellow card would have sufficed. So for him to give the 2 yellows and give the red, I just think that was way over the top and not in keeping with the game. It wasn't that type of game.
No, it wasn't a malicious game, was it?
So
No.
I was... bizarre is how I would describe that. People will say it's in the rules and technically he's right, but even so, I thought that was a sledgehammer to crack a nut.
Yeah.
So we're down to 10 men, a bit like the Liverpool game, forced to defend resolutely. We did that, we got the win. A little bit of a concern at the lack of goals in the team, although we did
lack of threat.
Well, you know what I mean? Some people will no doubt use that term again, which is disappointing. But I have to say, I was pleased with the performance in terms of us getting the win. I wasn't blown away by the performance in terms of, the quality of football and stuff like that. I thought we defended well. We were decent, but I think it's starting to look like we've got issues up front, man. What do you think?
I think everyone can see we've got issues up front. I mean, we all said, looking at that transfer window with the whole Aubameyang saga, if you're going to let him go, get somebody through the door, because goals are the thing that could be the difference between us getting top 4 or not.
Absolutely.
You see that game yesterday. I mean, we won the game 1-0. It was fairly scrappy, but if we take our chances, we could have won that game 2-0, 3-0. It's a comfortable victory now. There'll be other days. Wolves could have equalised in the last 15 minutes, 20 minutes with 10 men. We're all going to look back at that Lacazette incident and say, £50 million striker, you have to score that. Let's be honest. If Kane, if Ronaldo, if, any top striker gets that chance, you're turning around, walking back to the halfway line. It's a goal. And then, like you said, if Lacazette comes off, the replacement is Eddie Nketiah. That's my only issue. I think Arteta's taken a chance that if we're going to get top 4, there's such a heavy reliance on your Smith Rowes, your Sakas, your Martinellis, who are your young players to score goals, because at the moment the strikers aren't scoring. So the result was brilliant. To go to Wolves. Wolves have got the second best defence in the league. Only Man City have conceded less. So I think to go there and win is a great result. But just them little things, them warning signs in the performance, you think maybe against better opposition where you get less chances, you've got to take them. So that's the only kind of downside of it.
No, I'm with you on that. Like you said, it wasn't the greatest performance, but we performed well enough. And to get a win at Wolves, a team like Wolves who, like you said, are very resilient, and to do that after being down to 10 men for 20 minutes plus, you have to commend the team and the manager for that. However, there are other talking points to come out of that game, and I think the main one to come out of that game is Arsenal's perceived, or maybe it's not perceived, disciplinary problem. So let's just go through that. I mean, that will become our main item of discussion from last night's game. So Arsenal's disciplinary problem, or perceived disciplinary problem. So that red card for Martinelli was the 5th of the season. So we've had Gabriel sent off, Xhaka sent off twice, Partey, and now Martinelli. Arsenal have now had more red cards than we scored goals this season.
No, this year,
sorry, not season, the year, 2022. Arsenal's 15th red card since Mikel Arteta took over in December 2019. Wow. That's 7 more than any other Premier League side. Xhaka, for example, he's been sent off 5 times in his career. He's amassed 62 yellow cards in that time as well. So do Arsenal have a discipline problem? I would say yes. The question now is, whose fault is it? Is it the players? Should they take more responsibility, or should the manager be doing more about it? Curtis, You used to play the game at a high level. What do you think of that, bro? Do we have a disciplinary problem?
I think the proof says we do. The thing is, in football, when you gain a reputation for something, it kind of sticks to you, and then we might get red cards that aren't red cards, but because we keep getting them, it's like a player who dives a few times. You get a reputation, then the ref starts to, give dives when you probably were fouled. So I think we've built a reputation up now for getting red cards. So referees are probably, a little bit over the top sometimes when incidents occur. But I think as a player, you've always got to take responsibility, but the manager can stamp out certain things. For example, Xhaka gets booked, sent off a lot of the time. I never see him get dropped. I never see the manager say anything in an interview. So it's kind of like, if you know you can get away with doing that, he's just going to keep doing it. So I think sometimes the manager has to stamp his authority and say, for example, we saw when Pepe got sent off against Leeds, the manager was fuming. The interview was very different from any interview with Xhaka when he's been sent off.
I've got to say, the energy was completely different. Now, listen, I don't know why that is.
Yeah.
Maybe some of the viewers out there will let us know in the comments section, but it did appear that he had a massive problem with Pepe getting sent off. And don't get me wrong, what Pepe did was silly.
Yeah.
But I mean, like you said, Xhaka's transgressed in that area a number of times.
Yeah.
And seemingly nothing.
I mean, he talks about these non-negotiables and discipline and, everything like behaviour and stuff, but we're getting way too many red cards. I mean, to get in the top 4, you've got to finish games with 11 players on the pitch. Because let's be honest, when we played Man City at the start of January, very good performance. We get the red card, the game goes away from us. So we got away with it against Wolves. But against better quality, they'll beat you. Even when we played Wolves, 20 minutes, you give Man City, Liverpool that 20 minutes, they're going to equalise probably. So I think there is a disciplinary problem. And the thing is, you look at this Arsenal team, it's not like the Vieira team that was really tough and you thought, this is quite a...
Because it's interesting you say that, because I was looking at Vieira did get sent off quite a few times.
Yeah, he did, yeah.
But like you said, they were slightly different circumstances. And we were a better team then as well, so...
I'm very aggressive.
Yeah.
You look at this Arsenal team, it's not the most intimidating, aggressive team, is it? So
there's very few aggressive. Yeah, I guess you could call Xhaka quite aggressive.
Oh, yeah.
But even those sending offs, though, not really been like aggressive tackles, been stupid stuff.
Yeah, just petulant.
Like he's getting beaten and he decides to... Even the booking he got yesterday, I thought was needless.
Just pulled him back.
Pulled the guy back by the shirt because he didn't want to get beaten. I mean, like, come on now. You've got to use your intelligence. But, all right, so what do you think the manager can do then to address it? What do you think he should be doing? You've been in dressing rooms. I'm sure you've been in teams where players have got sent off. What did managers do in previous teams you played in?
It's difficult, really, because I suppose you talk to them. He's probably spoken to them time and time again. I mean, I think he said in the interview yesterday he's running out of ideas of what to say to them. So clearly...
So what you mean, there's no solution?
No, he called himself the solution to the problem, didn't he? So I think the only other thing you could do is pull certain players out of the team if they're not listening. I mean, I don't mean to pinpoint Xhaka, but he is probably the most booked player at Arsenal. I mean, someone walked into a bookies the other week and laid down about 50 grand. They were that sure of him getting booked. But...
he probably won a lot of money too.
A lot of money, yeah. If you know you can do something and get away with it, it seems to happen. I always joke at the start of a game, Xhaka will get booked today. And he seems to. So it's more a petulance issue, I think, than we don't get red cards where, like you said, they've two-footed someone, it's a disgraceful tackle. Maybe Xhaka's at Man City. Most of them are just petulant, yellow card, another yellow. So it's maybe comes with inexperience as well.
Or maybe not, because let's face it, Xhaka's probably our most experienced player.
Yeah. But not mature, is he?
Yeah.
Not a mature player.
I was slightly disappointed in Xhaka. I mean, listen, I have bigged up Xhaka on this show on a number of occasions. I know. And you've chastised me. You and others have chastised me for it. But I have to say, even I was a little disappointed at that interview he gave a couple of weeks ago. Where he was almost kind of... I wouldn't say
arrogant.
That's how it was coming across to me. That's the way I play, and he was blaming the referees and everybody else, and seemingly not taking any responsibility for himself.
Yeah.
And I was thinking to myself, look, it's not just about you, mate. Because when you get sent off like that, and we're down to 10 men, it affects the team. It affects, like you said earlier, it would affect our chances of a possible top 4 place if we're not going to be able to keep, 10 players on the pitch, 11 players on the pitch for most of these games. So it does have a detrimental effect on the team. So for him to be making jokes about it and talking about it in that manner, I find that was a little bit inappropriate. What about yourself, bro?
It doesn't surprise me with Xhaka. He seems very sure of himself, don't he? And
it's a bit egotistical and a bit arrogant, I thought.
When the crazy thing with Xhaka, every manager has picked him at Arsenal. No one's ever really said, nah, Xhaka's not good enough. Wenger picked him, Emery picked him, Arteta has, so he gets a new contract, starts for Switzerland. So
well, listen, I've always said that Arsenal are a better to like him or loathe him, right? Just look at the stats of when I haven't got them to hand, so, but you can go, they're out there. When Xhaka plays, invariably we do better than when he's not in the team. He is a good player. He does have certain attributes that I think enhance the team, namely his experience, his physicality. He does have a good left foot. He has a good range of passing. He can even score the odd goal. We are definitely, in my opinion, a better team with Xhaka in it. However, we got to address the disciplinary problem. And when you're looking at Arsenal's disciplinary problem, one name immediately comes to mind, and that is Granit Xhaka, because he's the biggest transgressor, biggest offender.
I think with Xhaka, we are better with him in the team, but my question always is he good enough? And I don't.
No, but
think
clearly
he
he is, isn't it? If we're winning most of our games that he does play and are not losing, then it would appear that he is.
But we've finished 8th the last 2 years. We haven't actually qualified for the Champions League since we've signed him. I'm not saying that's his fault. I think it's more a question of why have Arsenal not upgraded him rather than... Because I'd agree, Xhaka and Partey is our best midfield partnership.
Currently,
my question would be, why have Arsenal never signed that upgrade? Why did they give him a new contract? But it's a debate to have. It is a debate to have.
Debate for another day. But to get back to this disciplinary problem, Mr. Solution, he calls himself. Well, that's what he's labelled himself. He said, I am the solution. What is the solution to this problem? Is it fines? Is it dropping players? He's got to do something, hasn't he? Clearly, because this can't go on. I mean, okay, I wouldn't say you were lucky last night because we defended well. We were resolute. And I'll be honest with you, apart from the odd moment here and there, Wolves didn't look like they were going to do that much.
They weren't great.
They're not really known this season anyway for their attacking prowess. If I was a Wolves fan, I would be disappointed in my team for not doing more, in spite of Arsenal being resolute and defending well.
Yeah.
But to bring it back round, this disciplinary thing with the red cards is going to be a problem if it carries on. So what is Mr. Solution going to do in terms of finding a solution to this problem? Like I said, is it fines? Is it dropping players? Is it publicly calling them out like he did to Pepe? And, trying to put the spotlight on the guys and say, look, I'm putting this on you. Or does he get them behind closed doors? Do they, get a psychologist in? Or something drastic's got to happen, isn't it? Surely.
Yeah, because, people are joking about it now. Oh, Arsenal, they'll get someone sent off. And it's people that we're not even expecting now. I think they said Martinelli hasn't been sent off in his whole career. And all of a sudden he's getting red cards. So I think...
Is there a culture of indiscipline at Arsenal when it comes to yellow cards and red cards? You know what I mean?
It's interesting because he talks about discipline and culture. He uses all these buzzwords a lot of the time. But then non-negotiables and all of that.
I mean, listen, I love rugby. I used to play a lot of rugby at school and I watched a lot of rugby union. Well, I watched rugby league as well, but in rugby union, there's this big emphasis on discipline, not to give away penalties that can cost you points. Teams actually work on their discipline. Is it, and I know that, for example, they brought in mind coaches and they worked specifically on things like that. Now, is it a situation whereby Arteta's going to have to change the way he coaches the players and dedicate time to addressing discipline on the pitch in terms of game management, really, isn't it? Not giving away silly fouls, knowing that when you're on a yellow card, how to, approach your next tackle or,
Yeah.
Just little things like that. Is this something that he's going to, because I would say yes, I think it is enough of a concern that he's got to do something tangible about this if they're going to aspire to European football.
I think as well with Arteta, he takes chances. Even we got Partey and Xhaka booked. My first thought was 60, 70 minutes, you might have to take Xhaka off.
Yeah.
Now, I know he wasn't sent off on this occasion, but sometimes they're the little things you got to do. You know Xhaka is a bit of a ticking time bomb. He's on a yellow. It's a tight game. Bring on Lokonga or bring on El Neni. I think sometimes you got to manage situations. I think when you look at it, I think Xhaka's the only one that's actually had straight red cards. The rest of the players have had 2 yellow cards, which is, I think, is more avoidable. You know, once you get that first yellow, you know you may be able to back out of certain challenges and stuff. So,
I think the other thing as well about the yellow cards is they're getting them early in games.
Yeah.
You know yourself from being a professional footballer, when you get that yellow card very early in the game, for a while after, for the rest of the game, you're on tenterhooks about that challenge, you know. So even that could be a coaching issue.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Impressing upon the players the need not to get booked early unless it's something out of the ordinary. You know what I mean? So those silly little fouls that you give away, tugging people's shirts, pulling them down when you didn't need to and stuff like that, it can come back and impact the game adversely.
Yeah.
So, you know, I honestly feel, bro, that it's something that he's going to have to take very seriously, because if this happens twice in the space of a couple of weeks and we didn't lose either game. I'm talking about the Liverpool game and the game against Wolves. But it's not going to carry on like this. You said yourself at the start of the season when we played, sorry, not the start of the season, when we played City, that was a turning point of that match in a game that we were playing very well. So it's something that he's going to have to address.
Yeah.
And it could be, you know, a combination of all of those things, getting in someone specific to talk to the players, you know what I mean, some kind of psychologist on how to, you know, approach games, specific coaching, talking to players, fining them where appropriate, dropping them where appropriate. Maybe it's a combination of all those factors, but it's got to be addressed, bro.
100%.
Yeah? Do we agree?
Yeah.
What do you guys think? I mean, listen, you know, we're talking here, but I'm sure you guys out there have got some suggestions you might want to proffer on this. Send us in the comments. Let us know, bro. We need to know because it's fast becoming an issue. So if we do get some good ones, we never know. We might forward them on to Mikel Arteta.
Yeah.
But yeah, man. Right, okay, so moving on then. So we did win the game in the end. Congratulations to the players. We're now in 5th place, just behind West Ham. We've got a couple of games coming up that I thought are winnable. Do you think that top 4 is back on?
I mean, listen, it's been there for a while. I think we've got an opportunity. You look at the run of fixtures we got coming up. We've got, I hate to look at paper too much, but you look at the fixture list on paper, the next 5 or 6 games, they're all winnable games if we turn up. So I think whoever gets 4th, it's not necessarily that you look at like Arsenal, Man United, Tottenham, maybe West Ham. I don't think any of them have been great this season. I think it's more a case of who messes up the least times can maybe grab that. So listen, I think that Wolves game, you saw the way Arsenal celebrated at the end. They knew it was a big victory. Wolves away.
Ruben Neves.
Well, yeah, Ruben Neves was a bit salty, wasn't he?
He was, wasn't he?
Yeah, I don't want us to sign him now. I didn't like that interview.
What did you think? I mean, let's talk about that for a minute. I mean, I thought that was very salty. I mean, it's clear that they were not celebrating beating Wolves. I think they were celebrating more the fact that they'd gone down to 10 men for over 20 minutes. And it ended up winning a game, which, let's be honest, you know what I mean, most teams in that situation, they either draw the game or even lose the game. Yeah. So I think that was why they were celebrating. And I can't really fault them for that.
Yeah. No,
I know like see Roy Keane's probably going to come say, oh, look at this, not celebrating, taking selfies and all. No, I didn't think it was like that.
No, listen, them circumstances there, you celebrate.
Yeah,
you know?
They're warranted.
Hard night at Molineux, which is a tough ground to go, down to 10 men. I thought that Podence for Wolves was very impressive. Looks a real player. Reminds me a bit of Hazard.
Yeah, he was giving Cedric a warm night.
Yeah, he was. He was a problem. But
he was.
No, I thought. Listen, the performance it's not a game you're going to watch the highlights of in 6 months. You don't care. But the result was vital. You look at the next games, I think we've got Brentford, we play Watford, play Wolves again, Leicester at home. You know, if we can win the next 3 or 4 games, Tottenham play Man City next week, you know, these teams are going to drop points. So,
and let's face it as well, those results prior to the Wolves game kind of went in our favour. So it was important that we get a result. Yeah. So all those factors combined, the fact that the results have kind of gone our way, so we needed a result, the fact that people saw this as a very difficult game. Because I'll be honest with you, man, my prediction for this game was a 1-1 draw.
Yeah, I know, you said,
So, you know, hey, I was very pleased with the result. So, in answer to Neves, it wasn't about Wolves so much.
No, it wasn't Wolves.
I think you're being a bit salty with Neves. But yeah, to go back to, is it realistic?
It's possible.
It's possible, isn't it?
It's definitely possible. And listen, I know it's like an old saying, but we've just got to take it game by game. We're not a world-beating team. We didn't sign that £70 million glamorous striker. I just think Arteta's got to find a way of getting more goals out of this attack. Lacazette, you know, like we were saying just before, he needs a little tap in from a yard out just to get that confidence, you know.
Even if one goes in off his derriere, man.
Listen, whatever, just get a goal by any means.
Any means necessary.
Any means necessary. And then obviously we need the wingers because, like you said, we've still only scored 2 goals in 2022. But looking at the fixtures, Brentford at home, Watford, these are games where I think we can score goals. So take it
just
game
quickly,
by game.
Disappointed not to see Pepe last night, or understandable given the sending off?
No, listen, I get it. Obviously, you lose a player. I think he brought Holding on for Saka just to strengthen the defence. I don't know what anyone else thinks. I know Pepe is not a striker naturally. I would rather see Pepe coming on for Lacazette than Eddie Nketiah. I would. Listen, this guy cost £72 million. He was one of the best players in the French league the year we signed him. He's just had a good AFCON. No disrespect to Eddie. We know what Eddie is and what he isn't.
What is he?
Well,
don't answer that. But yeah, listen, man, I agree with you. We've got to be seeing more of Pepe.
Come on, yeah, man. I mean,
we've both said on this show so many times, man, there is a player in there. I mean, I saw him in AFCON. He scored 2 worldies and a couple of assists. And up until Ivory Coast went out, a lot of people were touting him to be the player of the tournament. Now, listen, man, he's just not been given a chance. It's fairly obvious to all that the manager doesn't quite rate him, but he's got to put that aside and give this man an opportunity. You know what I mean? He's an asset that we need to be using. That's my thoughts.
No, I agree with you, man. Like, listen, whether you want to keep him or not, every time you don't play him, his value is going to drop. His confidence is going to drop. Nothing gained from it. Eddie has rejected contracts. It looks like he's going to leave in the summer. So to me, I would leave him to sit down. And Pepe's at the club. He's on a contract. I would rather see Pepe through the middle than Eddie if Lacaz's coming off.
Right, okay, yeah. And with the discipline thing, like we said, he's going to have to address it, isn't he? He's going to have to find a solution.
And the thing is, he doesn't have that much time. There's 3 months until the season. So I think the players are going to have to take a lot of the responsibility themselves and think, we've got a problem here. We've got 9 days till our next game. I think after that, there's a 2-week break because of the international break. So they've got to get on the training ground and work on it.
Absolutely. It's just mathematics, people. With 11 players on the pitch, you're much more likely to win games than if you only have 10. It's just simple mathematics. On that, we've got to round up the show now. Listen, bro, thank you very much once again for coming on and enlightening us and giving us the benefit of your insights, having played the game at the highest level. Enough respect. Tell the people where they can find you on social media, bro. For the 110th time.
110th time, Curtis Shaw TV, daily uploads. Big up to everyone supporting as well. And yeah, I'm there.
And thanks everybody for watching, supporting. We appreciate your support. We had some great views last week. I tried to respond to as many of the comments as I could, but keep them coming. We like to keep the show interactive. Keep watching, keep supporting. Keep yourselves healthy, safe, COVID-free. If you do have COVID, we wish you a speedy recovery. And to my man Curtis, last thoughts for you. Just want to ask you, it is pertinent, Super Bowl weekend, will you be watching? And if so, who will you be supporting? Will you be supporting Kroenke's team, the Rams?
I'm a bit of a rebel, so I don't mind if the Rams get beat.
Really? No, you know why I asked though, because it's a school of thought. Me and Robbie was talking about this earlier. that if the Rams do win the Super Bowl, the Rams, by the way, are owned by our owner, Kroenke, then that might impact positively on Arsenal, not negative.
Yeah, no.
Or will it make an iota of difference?
I don't know if
Probably
it
not.
makes much difference. I'm more thinking if he loses, you know, and he loses some money, he might think, you know what, let me sell Arsenal. But probably win or lose will probably not affect us anyway.
Yeah, I don't think
but,
it'll make that
you know,
much
it's
sense.
one of
I think that the whole Arsenal project is something he's bequeathed to his son now.
yeah,
anyway.
yeah, he's passed that on.
Yeah,
hasn't he?
so he's just, you know, it's in the
Side-
family.
side
Arsenal's
dish.
in the family here.
Yeah,
He
it's
just
there,
pass it
innit?
on to his
It's
son.
there.
But yeah, but Super Bowl weekend I will be watching. But yeah, and until we meet again, guys, take care of yourselves. We'll see you next week.